So let's go ahead and create out the add a book form so we can actually fill in the details and store this in the database. That's going to be just over here under add a book. So let's just go and create the controller and root out first for this. So we'll make a controller here and we're going to call this book create controller. And let's go over to our web roots and just fill this in. So this is going to be a get root and it's going to be books / and create. Switch that over to book create controller and we can now head over to book create controller and just fill this in. So let's go ahead and create out an invoke magic method here. And let's go ahead and create our constructor. We know that we need to be authenticated for this, so it's pretty straightforward. We'll just fill it in now, but we will add a test for it in a moment. Say auth. And for invoke, let's go ahead and return a view and really quickly create this out. So that's going to be books and create. So if we head over to our views really quickly, let's just create out a folder in here called books, and we'll create out create.blade.php. Okay, so this is our create page. So if we head over now, we should be able to go over to books / create and see that. Let's hook it up to our navigation really quickly, and then we can start writing some tests. So add a book, and we want this to be books / create. Great. Okay, so I can click add a book now and go through to this page. Of course, at the moment, it doesn't look great. Okay, so let's just start to write some tests and we'll sort of hop in between fixing the UI, getting the UI working, and writing tests at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and make out a test here, and this is going to be book create test. Not too much in here, but it's worth doing this. So book create test. And of course, what I didn't do is provide the pest flag. I think we can force create this. No, we can't with tests. So let's just manually delete this. Great. And let's just try that again without force. And there we go. Great. Okay, so book create test. What do we need to write for this? Well, we need to be authenticated. So we're going to grab the same assertion that we used for this here. We're going to switch this up a little bit later to make it a little bit clearer. And if we just come over to book create test and add this in here, let's also make sure that we have in our database stuff, and we should be good. So of course this is different now. It is getting books / create, and we want to make sure that we're redirected with a 302. So we'll just get rid of this last line so the actual test makes sense. And let's go ahead and run this test out now. So pest and tests feature and book create test. And there we go, that passes. So we know that we need to be authenticated to access this. Now, the only other thing we really want to check on this page here is that we see the list of statuses within that form in order, because remember, these now come from that pivot class that we've created. So let's go ahead and build out the UI first, and then we'll just write a quick test to cover this and see how we can do it. So if we come over to create.blade.php, at the moment, of course, it doesn't look great. Let's just steal the template from the login page that we've already got, and let's just change this around. So add a book, and this is going to go through to /books to create that book. We're still going to have our cross-site request forgery token in there. Let's get rid of this password maybe, and let's switch these out. Create a book or create book, and let's change this to the book title, and let's switch this to title and change the type to text, and we'll get rid of the placeholder in there as well. So let's just have a look at this, and I think that looks okay. And let's just duplicate this down. This is going to be the author, of course. Change that to author, and there we go. Now, the only other thing that we need are the list of statuses. Just before we do that, let's add in some errors for the title and author, just so we can see these on the page. So we'll make these red 500 and small, and in there we'll just grab the message as part of that component. And now what should happen is when we click create a book, we see the title field is required. I've put that in the wrong place, but you kind of get the idea. So let's add this for the title, and let's add one here for the author. So we know that the validation rules work because we tested them, and sure enough, they're coming through properly. Okay, so down here, let's go ahead and iterate over all of the statuses, and we'll put these inside of an input. So let's come and grab all of this, paste this in here, And of course, we don't want an input now. We want a select. So the type doesn't make sense here. The name will be the status. We can change that up as well, status. And we'll put status there as well. Okay, so that should be just about it. Of course, what we just need to do is finish that select off and provide some options inside of here. So for example, want to read, and then the value of this is going to be the key that we have, want to read, for example. So we should end up with something like this. Great. Okay, so why don't we write the test now, and then we'll just fill in this with a for each loop to actually output the statuses, and then finally we'll finish up by posting this through just to make sure that it works. So if we head to book create test, we want to make sure that we see all of the statuses on the form. So let's say it shows the available statuses on the form. And again, we're going to make this really basic. We're not going to sort of fine tune this and dive in too much. Just going to keep this really simple. So we're not using a user in any of our other tests, so a before each doesn't really make sense here. You could do if you wanted to, like we did for the last test. I'm just going to create the user directly inside of here. And then we would just want to go ahead and say, acting as this user, let's go ahead and get /book/create. And then we can use a Laravel assertion like assert C text in order. Remember, it needs to be in the correct order. And we can reference that book user pivot class and the statuses. So that's just an array of the values. We just want to make sure we see them in order. So let's go ahead and pull the namespace in for the model here. And let's run our test just to make sure. Okay, it fails. So of course we can't see these in the correct order because we're not iterating through them. So now we just need to iterate through them and we should be good. So let's go ahead and add a for each loop in here. And for this, we're just going to need to provide the full namespace. A little bit awkward, but we can refactor this later, of course, once we know that our test passed. So let's say pivot, book, user, and statuses as key, which is the key that we want to put into the value here, and status. Let's end that for each just here. Pull this in, replace this out with the key, and then replace this out with the status. And we should be good. Let's have a look. And yeah, that looks good. And of course, our tests should also pass. Brilliant. So you can make them a little bit more thorough, but of course, it doesn't really matter too much at the moment since we're just learning our Pest syntax. Okay, so finally, we're going to go ahead and look at actually posting this through. Now, this says the author field is required. Let's just change our error here to status and just make sure. And yeah, that's good. And let's just say book 1 and author 1. Create that out. And there we go. So we're redirected back over to the home page where we're eventually going to be listing out our books. More importantly, over in the database, we've got this record in here, which we already knew would work because we have tests to back it up, and the book's been stored here as well. So everything is now working nicely. What we're now going to do is head over to the home page and write some tests to cover this and see that we can see all of our books grouped by the statuses. And we're going to look at a really, really good Pest feature that's going to allow us to really condense writing this test. So let's head over and look at that in the next episode.